Yeah, I was trying to contact Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor.
Oh, Roger. Well, that's me. Hello. I'm gonna go get another cup of coffee. Good morning, sir. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor.
Yeah, Roger that. Had me kind of confused there for a minute. I was hoping I was calling the right person. Anyways, I heard a bit of your conversation with that last guy you spoke to, and I was curious about that Yagi. Do you have any documentation of that Yagi that you built, or was that just too long ago? Over back to you.
Roger, I'll tell you what. If you go to the internet and you look up Kent, K-E-N-T, Britain, B-R-I-T-T-E-N, I believe that's correct, or search on Google for a cheap Yagi antenna. That will bring up his website. Now, he has spent quite a few years designing antennas for third world countries, and he designs them antennas very simplistically. They're not in metric; they're in normal inches, and partial inches. And and he said in third world countries they use coat hangers for the elements. So he has designed this antenna to be almost foolproof. It's built on a wooden boom, inch by inch and a half, and I think he did a six element, and I just theorized a seventh element, and to get 7 elements on one 8-foot boom. And the most ingenious thing about his antenna design is that his driven element is what's called a half-wave, half-folded dipole, in that only one end of it comes back to the boom. And if you drive that one, you can drive it with 50 ohms or 75 ohms. It's really not critical, but the way he has positioned the positioned the driven element between the reflector and the first director, he can get that transition to the coax without having to use any kind of a matching thing, transformer or otherwise. His circuit is what's called a DC to ground circuit, so it's a lot quieter than gamma matches. Anytime you have a capacity-fed driven element, it's going to be noisier than a DC to ground element. Roger, Roger?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm looking at it right now. This is interesting. I enjoy building antennas myself. I find it a learning process. Every time I build another antenna, I always learn something new. And I've never seen this design, which is kind of bizarre for me because I've built a lot of antennas. But yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out. I even see a design here for basically a 2-meter, 70-centimeter diplexer, that looks pretty simple. Man, he's got it going on. I like this. I appreciate that link there.
Oh, Roger, Roger. Now, when you, like I say, this has got a wooden boom, and I love wood because it's non-evasive as far as RF signals. You get metal involved, extra metal involved in something, and it's going to mess with the signal. So this way, that wood is, non-conductive and does just perfect there. And I tell you, it's a very forgiving antenna because I hand drilled the holes for the elements, for a bunch of them, and for the early ones I just used a hand drill, and the thing about a hand drill is you never come out 90 degrees to where you went in. So there was always some discrepancy there about the one to the other. But the thing is that out at the tips, that you coincide with a true signal path on the tips of the elements. That's the most critical thing. So you can look down from the front, like looking down the barrel, if you will, and you only see, if it's properly aligned, you only see one element, because the others are directly in line with that one. And then as you look to it from the side, all the elements are 90 degrees to the boom. So that in a nutshell. And if you're going to mount it vertically, what you need to do is to make the last 4 feet PVC pipe, so that the vertical elements don't get detuned by the proximity of the support mast. Now that problem won't show up as SWR because the driven element is so far back from the problem of the support mast that it won't show up as SWR, but that support mast metal will detune your vertically polarized antenna. Also the same thing with the transmission line coming down. What you want to do is put a standoff right at the tip of the elements, about a 8 to 12 inch standoff, like a half-inch PVC, using tie wraps on either end, one to secure it to the mast and the other to secure the coax, and you force that coax out about 8 inches right at the tips of the bottom elements, and it's kind of like a V. If you look at it from the side, the transmission line will take a V and then go back to the support mast much lower, and that way you avoid the transmission line actually detuning the antenna. Roger?
Yeah, roger that, roger that. As a matter of fact, the very first Yagi that I built, that was for 2 meters, and I basically built the entire thing out of PVC and just copper wire, and it worked really well. And I built a telescoping mast out of the same material. Basically, the whole system was PVC, and it really works well for that kind of stuff. And like you said, keeping that metal out of the picture, it solves a lot of problems. Of course, you have to guide a 20-foot mast, if it's made out of PVC in the middle of the summer, that stuff gets a little floppy down here in Georgia. But other than that, it works well. By the name, by the way, I don't think I mentioned my name. Name here is Brian with an I. Bravo, Romeo, India, Alpha, November. And I'm located in a little town called Perry, Georgia. It's about 90 miles south of Atlanta. Over.
Roger that. Now, what you want to do, what was the name there again? Brian. Brian, what you want to do is you go to Home Depot and get you 2 10-foot sections of fence pipe. I don't know, I think it's top rail something or whatever they call it in the fencing department, but it is tubing, strong tubing, and the last 4 or 5 inches have an enlarged sleeve for the next piece to slip in. So and I think they're like $10 a piece. So for $20, you're 20 feet high, and then you get your piece of PVC with, again, that expanded head on it, where it'll slip over, and it'll actually slip over the pipe, and then go up about 4 foot, cut it off, and that's your 4 foot to mount your antenna on. Roger?
Yeah, copy that. Matter of fact, a good friend of mine, I built an antenna for him recently, about a month ago or so, and he bought some of that material that you're talking about, that top rail, I guess it's for fences, and basically do exactly what you're saying. It works good. I like the idea. It's nice and cheap too if you don't want to invest a lot of money into it.
That's Roger, Brian. I have 3 towers and 4 of those tubes, 20-foot tubes, and we have a little advantage on height. We're about 120 feet above average terrain where we are, so we don't need a 200-foot tower. 20-foot tower plus 24-foot does real well, and we are consistently working 240 up to 400 miles with those that 7-element beam. Just go ahead now. What I do when I finish, I put about 7 coats of gloss black spray paint, about 7 coats on it. Roger?
Roger that. Well, is there any particular reason why you use the gloss? I usually paint my antennas a flat black, and no particular reason other than I just like the way it looks. But is there any particular reason why you use the gloss?
Roger, because gloss sheds water. Gloss sheds water real good.
All right, well that makes sense. Learned something else today. All right, well James, I'm going to let you go. I've got to be getting out of the house here shortly for a doctor's appointment, but it was a pleasure talking to you. I'm glad you picked me up, and maybe I'll catch you on down the line some other day. You have a good morning and rest of your day, and we'll talk to you another time. Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor from Kilo Mike 4 Mike Lima Sierra 73, and have a good one.
Roger, Roger. And just FYI, we do have a YouTube page where we have a QSO page on YouTube, and we have been recording this QSO. So if you want to hear what your station sounds like, if you get a chance, drop by YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that'll take you to our QSO-VLOG page. Right at the top of that page will be one that has all of our QSOs in it, about 140 something, and if you open that one up, our QSO should be towards the top, right under Art Bell. Roger, Roger?
All right, roger that. Well, sounds good. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. I appreciate it.
Roger, Roger. 3's that away, sir. You have a real good day. And come back one more time with your call sign slowly and phonetically.
Sure, that's Kilo Mike 4 Mike Lima Sierra KM4MLS.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. You have a real good day. 3's down towards Georgia. And we catch you later. It's KC9VKV.